Hello, fifth graders. So throughout this topic so far, we've been dealing with multiplying decimals and whole numbers, okay? So we've modeled it, we've learned how to estimate it, we've used number sense to find our answer or to check our answer. Now we are finally going to actually learn how to multiply a decimal and a whole number, okay? So the first thing you always need to do, let's look at this problem. It's 9 8/10 times 2. So we have 9 8/10 is our decimal, 2 is our whole number, okay? The first thing you always want to do whenever you're multiplying with decimals, okay, you want to see how many decimal places are in the problem. So in this whole entire problem, 9 8/10 and 2, how many total decimal places do we see? Well, 9 8/10 has one decimal place. 2, we don't see right now any decimal places. So in our total problem, we have one decimal place, okay? So what that means is that at the very end, when we get our answer, we need to make sure our answer also has one decimal place. Because the first step is to determine how many total decimal places there are. The second step is to take the decimals, oh, I messed up there. Take the decimals out. Okay, that's important. You want to take the decimals out and multiply as whole numbers. So what I mean by that, you're going to take the decimals out, meaning 9 8/10 is just 98. 2 doesn't have any decimals, so it would just be 2. So really what you're doing is multiplying 98 times 2. Okay, so if we do that, 98 times 2, we have 8 times 2 is 16. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 1 is 19. So our answer is 196, but that's not our final answer, okay? Because we had a decimal, we were multiplying by decimals, so our answer is also going to have a decimal. So we have to make 196 have one decimal place, okay? Meaning that usually in the number 196 or any whole number, the decimal place is always at the very end. It's like imaginary, you can't really see it. Okay, so we're going to shift it one place value over so that this answer has one decimal place. Okay, so our final answer, 9 8/10 times 2 is 19 6/10, which if we used estimation to find it out, it would make sense because 9 8/10 is really close to 10. 2 is 2. 10 times 2 gives us 20, which I would say 20 is very close to 19 6/10. All right, so let's try a few more. This next one, again, I'm going to estimate first. So 34 6/10, what is that close to? That's a nice, easy number. You could round it to 35, but even easier than 35. I would say 30, okay? And then 9 would be 9. 9 times 3 is 27, add the 0. So our answer is going to be around 270. So the first thing we need to do is to see how many decimal places are in our answer, or in our problem. Well, 34 6/10 has one decimal place right here, that's 6/10. 9 doesn't have any, so I always do it on the side, I write a 1, circle it. So I know at the very end, I need to add one decimal place, or make sure my answer has one decimal place. So now I just take the decimals out. I have 346 times 9. And then we'll multiply that. So do that right now. What do you get when you multiply 346 times 9? Well, let's see. 9 times 6 is 54. 4 goes down there, 5 goes there. 9 times 4 is 36. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. And 9 times 3 is 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 again. Okay? So our answer is 3,114. Is that correct? Our answer is 3,114. Final answer? No, because we need to make sure it has one decimal place. So this answer has one decimal place if I put the decimal right there. Now, let's compare our estimate, 270, to our actual answer, 311 4/10. I would say that's pretty accurate because we rounded down for 34 6/10. So our estimate is going to be an underestimate compared to our actual answer. Okay, let's look at the next one. 34 times 5 3/10. How many total decimal places are in 34 times 5 3/10? 34 has none. 5 and 3 tenths has 1, so there's 1 decimal place. Now let's estimate. 34 is around 30. 5 and 3 tenths is around 5. So 5 times 3 is 15. Add the 0 is 150. So our answer is going to be around 150. So all we're doing, take out the decimal places. 34 times 53. So we have 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. Add the 1, it's 10. Oh, now we're going to multiplying the 5. So we're going to the tens place, which means we need a placeholder. 5 times 4 is 20. We don't need that 1 anymore. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17. So we add them up. We get 2, 0, 8, 1. Okay, so our final answer, though, is not 1,802. It needs 1 decimal place. So what numbers do we put the decimal in between to have 1 decimal place? Put it in between the 0 and the 2. So we get 180 and 2 tenths, which, again, seems pretty accurate to my estimate because, again, we went from 34 to 30, so we rounded down. So our estimate is an underestimate. Okay, so it makes sense that it's smaller than our actual answer. And the very last problem. How many total decimal places do we have in our problem? This has 1, this has none. So we have 1 decimal place. So at the very end, our answer has to have 1 decimal place in it. So we take out the decimals. We do 46 times 21. Multiply that right now. What do you get when you multiply 46 times 21? Fill that in your notes. So we have 6 times 1 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. Now we're done with multiplying the 1 by everything, so we're going to the 2, which is in the tens place, so we need a placeholder. 2 times 6 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So we add it all up. Okay, now I actually didn't even estimate to begin with, so before we even finish it, let's look. 4 and 6 tenths is around 5. 21's around 20. So 5 times 20, I would say, is around 100. So our answer is going to be around 100. But 966 is not around 100 because we did not put our decimal place in yet. How many decimal places does our final answer have to have? Has to have 1. So we put it in between, what, 2 numbers to make sure 966 has 1 decimal place. Right there, okay? 96 and 6 tenths, which makes sense also because we got an estimate of 100. And the only logical place that the decimal can be is right here because 96 is really close to 100. All right, so attached to this Edpuzzle is going to be some a Google form that has some of these problems that I want you to practice, okay? Now, on these problems, you may have to submit a picture of your work because, again, this topic is really heavily involved with showing your work, and I can't help you unless I know how you got it incorrect. So for some problems, you may need to submit a picture of your work. And then tomorrow, which is Wednesday, we are going to have a live lesson. So you guys are going to be joining me for a live lesson. We're going to be using a certain tool called a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard, which hopefully you heard me explain at our Google Meet today. And we'll be using that. We'll be meeting on Google Meet, and you'll be recording everything in your notes. All right, so I look forward to seeing you at our live lesson tomorrow. It's going to be at 11:15. All right, complete that Google form, and let me know if you have any questions, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.